Cheers! Welcome back to our bonus season 7 recap episode. We finally finished season 7,
where we drink boxed wine and talk about movies that were culturally significant.
Oh, did I really just go off?
No, I think we
I got excited.
Yeah.
We're straying from the norm. Don't mind us. We clearly haven't done a recap video or a recap podcast in a long time. So we are going to be recapping our season 7. And just to kick us off for this season, it was our World War II season. We had 8 episodes in the season, one of which was a double feature where we watched 2 movies. And then we also had a bonus holiday episode for Christmas with White Christmas. So we had a total of 10 World War II movies this season.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's crazy this season lasted just so long. We started recording in last November-ish? September-ish.
I think.
And had Christmas episode in the middle of that, and it is now July of the next year, wrapping it up. So it's going to be kind of interesting going back on this. Some of them are a little more removed than others.
Yes.
But just looking over the movies there, I feel like I've got I got a lot of unique perspectives on the war from these, and I'm excited to talk about some of them again.
So I have a lot of thoughts. All right. So would you like to start off by just reminding our listeners of our 10 movies that we watched this season?
Yes. So we started out with Dirty Dozen, which was from 1967. Then we went to 1970 with Patton. We had a bonus episode in 1954, going back in time a little bit, with White Christmas. 1993, then up to Schindler's List. So it's kind of a big jump there. And then 1998 with Saving Private Ryan. 2001, Pearl Harbor. 2006 was both Letters from Iwo Jima as well as Flags of Our Fathers. And then we went to 2008 with Boy in the Striped Pajamas, and finished with Dunkirk from 2017.
So we covered over 50 years.
Mm-hmm. And we covered a whole bunch of different continents and perspectives on this. Obviously, we had the general European theater, the Pacific theater. We then also covered the African front as well, which we've never
Patton.
really, I've not seen that really covered as much in movies before, or really anything.
And concentration camps with both Schindler's List and Boy in the Striped Pajamas.
Mm-hmm.
And
we got to see something from the same battle from 2 different sides. We had to see the Japanese perspective on a key battle in the war. So a lot of just really good different perspectives, different places all over the world. Obviously, World War kind of implies that. Mm-hmm. But this wasn't just hey, let's keep watching a whole bunch of the European front, killing Hitler over and over again. I would say Hitler was not a big character in most of these movies.
Yeah, I just have to say, we keep talking about all the different perspectives we got in this season. I wish we could say it was intentional, but we were just kind of I've heard of this movie. I've heard of this movie. I watched this one. I think we should include this. Mm-hmm. It was not an intentional thing, but it turns out that we covered it pretty well. Mm-hmm. Obviously, we have watched a lot of movies since the season started, since it's been a year, but I've watched a lot of movies outside of the podcast that are World War II themed, and we've gotten even more perspective. So it might just be a case that
we'd also seen Oppenheimer, which we covered in a previous season. Mm-hmm. I think there's so many that we could have included as well.
Yes.
But I'm very happy with the lineup that we ended up with this season.
Absolutely. So let's start, before we go into our questions, just based on our in the moment rankings. Mm-hmm. That when you find yours, I'll find mine. That as soon as the movie ended, your top pick was
Saving Private Ryan.
Yes. And my top pick was a 2-way tie between White Christmas and Schindler's List movie.
2 very similar movies, some say. Yeah, I think my second place was just behind that with Dirty Dozen. So I had an 8.8 for Saving Private Ryan and an 8.5 for Dirty Dozen. Those were, I think, the 2 of the most action-y ones.
Definitely. I
guess you could make a case of Pearl Harbor being pretty actiony, but there's also more of a love story in that. Dunkirk was kind of more of an escape adventure type. But I really did enjoy Saving Private Ryan and Dirty Dozen. It is very funny that those are 2 very fictionalized accounts that were kind of just an amalgamation of several different stories to kind of tell something that was semi resembled those stories. But it kind of makes the case that fiction is going to be more exciting, obviously, than fact there.
Yeah, definitely makes sense. And then both of our lowest rated movies, just off the cuff, as soon as the movie ended.
Mine was Boy in the Striped Pajamas.
And mine was Flags of Our Fathers.
Yeah, Boy in the Striped Pajamas was just a made-up storyline. I don't think it was very well told. I think it could have been told much better with some slight tweaks, which we covered in that episode. It didn't have a great pacing. overall, just
Yeah.
it could have been a lot better, and I was expecting a lot more from it.
I think I gave it a 4.8. You gave it a 3.7. I only bumped it up just because of my experience watching it the first time and like not knowing at all what it was about and just being so caught off guard and just having this like very vivid memory of seeing it the first time. So it feels like more culturally significant because I like watched it in the time that it came out. But it was in my bottom 3 for sure. And Dunkirk was my next lowest one after Flags of Our Father. Flags of Our Father just should have been told better. Yeah. Like Iwo Jima was so good, and Flags of Our Father was like, I need a little more context. It was kind of told out of order, I think, too.
And it felt like it kind of kept hammering over the same point over and over again of like, hey, we don't necessarily know who these people are. And yeah, I think it could have been told much more succinctly and could have been a better overall story, especially if it had been told linearly, I believe.
And then Dunkirk, as we talked about in the last episode, just needed more information about what was happening and better descriptors of when everything was happening. Even even at the beginning, if it had said May to June of 1940, like I needed that going into it because I tried not to do a lot of research because I didn't know a lot of Dunkirk, hoping to learn about it in the movie. But I don't think I learned enough from
it. Feels like it was a movie that Christopher Nolan made for himself, especially judging by the fact that he didn't want a script, as you covered at the end of the last episode. It makes a lot of sense that there was a lot left out. He'd done a lot of research, knew it himself, knew what he wanted to show, and I guess just didn't care. And it was apparently fairly well received and got great results at the box office as well as great critical acclaim. So he must have done something right. It just, we kind of wanted some more because we like to go into these things completely blind.
And I think for us, we are watching it for this podcast where we are going to sit down and we're going to talk about it and we want to learn. I mean, especially this season, it's like we are learning about World War II. We want to get all these perspectives. We want to take information away from this, and to not get that in the movie, it just felt like a letdown.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now do we want to go in and talk about, we had our immediate favorite scores. What was your favorite movie? Now reflecting back, you've seen them all, you have the perspective. Which one is your favorite?
I think favorite, I can make a case for several of these.
You can talk me through a couple of them if you want.
I mean, I think the ones that I'm most excited to have seen that I don't think are like the big, like stereotypical classic ones was definitely Letters from Iwo Jima and Flags of Our Fathers. I did love the idea that we were seeing the same battle from two different perspectives, even though one movie I thought was way more compelling than the others.
The combine of both of those.
The Japanese side was much more compelling. I think on here you have most culturally significant. I think of those, probably Schindler's List is going to be considered the most culturally significant.
That's what I was going to say too.
Make the case, White Christmas. But I think that more people should have seen Letters from Iwo Jima. I think that was a movie that is definitely way under the radar. So I think my favorite to have seen was that. I did really enjoy like Dirty Dozen. It was just kind of like a fun movie if you're not looking for things to be too factual. And then I think I just really also loved with Patton seeing that whole other front of the war. Yeah,
that was not something I was definitely not expecting from Patton. Okay, so my favorite movies outside of my scores, like really reflecting back on the season, were Saving Private Ryan, because I had not seen that before, and I remember the hype. I remember everybody talking about it. All the jokes about the phrasing Saving Private Ryan is mentioned all the time in pop culture.
The title is more culturally significant than the rest of the movie itself.
I agree 100%. But I also feel like it's also what I want in a war movie. It's like there's a good amount of action. I mean, obviously it was super stacked cast. Like it was just very fun to watch. Despite the tragic things that are happening, it was an interesting and exciting watch. And on that same note, Dirty Dozen, I think, was also one of my favorites looking back. It, I think, had just such a long buildup that I gave it a lower score because I was so bogged down by the first night. I guess we watched it over 2 nights, thinking back. And that first night was just like, okay, there's like a lot of prep going on here. And then that last night was just so fun and just so interesting. And I would actually honestly love to go back and watch like the last hour again.
It was almost like 2 movies in one, really.
Absolutely. But would have been a good miniseries. Our favorite quote on this, like, make a good miniseries.
Yeah. But I think that's probably like why it's like the stereotypical like dad movie is, because you just imagine dad's like watching TBS and it comes on and they fall asleep halfway through, or they pick it up. It's like over halfway through. It's almost like you get two for one, and it's just funny enough and just action packed enough to really make it rewatchable and just fun to pick up like any given segment of it.
Yeah. And I think just going back to your rubric, I think the rewatchability of all of these, the one I most want to go back and watch is Saving Private Ryan. I'm excluding White Christmas from that because I am going to watch it every year. It is one of my favorite movies. that's not included in here. I do very much love that, but of the actual like war movies that are all about the war, that one was Saving Private Ryan was my favorite. All right, least favorite. Do you stand with Boy in the Striped Pajamas, or were there others that you?
Yeah, we kind of covered that one. That one was my least favorite. Let me look and see if any other notes from this. Yeah, I mean, I had seen Pearl Harbor, so I was not really looking for that one to be too much more than what it is, just kind of like a love action semi-related to the
I think that's the one I was most disappointed in. I mean, the movie itself, was it good? Yes. But it was so much more love story than I was prepared for that I was like, okay, I'm kind of...
I think if I was seeing it for the first time, it would be that, but given that I had seen it plenty of times growing up and just loved all the plane scenes, didn't really care too much about the love triangle there, that it's hard for me to be disappointed when I knew what I was getting when we added it to the list here. The rest, yeah, Schindler's List, I don't know what I expected. It wasn't quite what I expected, but it's also more than I expected, but at least less than I expected, if that makes sense. It was just a very heavy movie at the end, but it wasn't like as in your face as I thought it would be. It was just kind of that like you finish the movie and you just feel really like drained and depressed after watching it, because it told the story at a really decent pace there to really just kind of like bring you down the whole time and really have that powerful moment, especially at the end where it just kind of then cuts to present day actual survivors of that laying the rocks on the tomb there. So that one, I wouldn't say I was like disappointed. I think it was just like obviously the most draining of them, and I don't know, it just was not what I expected.
Yeah, I still really, I mean, Schindler's List is one of my favorites as far as I'm glad I saw it. I feel like it's super culturally significant.
Don't really want to watch it anytime soon.
The rewatchability is not super quotable, like those things we typically look for. But as far as what we are trying to do of like watching movies with this podcast, I think that's one of the best ones for sure. But my least favorite movie, Flags of Our Father, was the lowest rated. But I mean, as far as rewatchability, the one I want to watch the least is Patton. I just remember just being like so bored because it was just so, I mean, I think that wasn't that one that was the one that was like 3 hours long.
Yeah, it was pretty long.
It was very long, and he's just not a good dude. I believe we saw in our research that was fairly factual, but it was just very draining in a different way than Schindler's List of like this person that you're like, oh, we like helped us win the war, but like in like a lot of the like grossest kind of ways. And it was just like the length of it. Sometimes I can't hang in movies.
Yeah, that one I think also really low rewatchability there. Glad I saw it, but it's not something I'm going to be like, oh, what do you want to watch today? Let's watch Patton again. Probably not.
Definitely not. So, and we already talked about most culturally significant. We both agree Schindler's List, most culturally significant. And then do you have any other thoughts or anything you want to talk about with World War II?
No, I think we kind of covered this really well this whole season. We've already obviously talked about the different perspective there. I think other movies we possibly could have added. We've already seen Oppenheimer in a previous season. I think Downfall is one I would like to watch in addition to all this. It's
never heard of it, but I'm in.
My understanding is it's a German language film though, but it's like Hitler. It's like obviously the downfall, like the end of the war. Ooh, there. It's that the YouTube meme you've seen of like Hitler reaction to whatever, like freaking out. If you've ever seen those memes,
I probably have
the videos of that. Right, it's from that, but apparently it's like overall like a really great movie. And it sucks that it's become such a meme at this point.
We've already watched it, but I feel like the movie Pressure would have been super interesting to watch in this. It's all about like the weather affecting World War II, which was such
another crazy perspective on the war there.
Given that we watched it in the middle of us doing this whole season, it was like, oh man, there's even more to uncover. That was just really interesting.
Which in The Notebook, yeah.
Oh yes, we did talk about that. Should we throw the Chronicles of Narnia in there too?
True. The opening scene. There's the war there.
Our daughter was watching it the other day after we talked about could you make the case it's a World War II movie, was something we discussed adding to our list, and I was like, well, Chronicles of Narnia, World War II movie.
Yeah, I guess Legends of the Fall was World War I. I can't think of two anymore off the top of my head, but I know that there's still plenty.
Oh, there's definitely more.
We love
so if we keep doing this long enough, we may circle back and do another World War II season.
Real deep season again, yeah. Hey, it's me. I totally got again in the recording of our recap season to go over the thing that I said I was going to go over in the after show or I guess in the sometime segment. So I forgot to do that twice. I remembered hours later. So here I am again to let you know I did research the World War II planes diving, making that siren sound, whatnot, that I was like, that seems kind of crazy. It'd be a dead giveaway. Why do they do it for every single plane? And it turns out that there's some truth in the middle there. So some planes had sirens just to kind of give that impending sense of like alarm and dread and alert people there. The one you hear a lot in the movies, especially in Dunkirk, was the Stuka probably German plane that gave that really iconic siren sound that you hear. So that was actually legit, hearing that sound, and it was just to kind of like freak people out, scare them. I still kind of think I would have gone with the element of surprise, but it was done for a reason. However, people do complain that sound is used way too much for like planes that like didn't have that siren or shouldn't have that. It's become kind of like the Wilhelm scream of like every time you see a plane, you hear that same exact siren. So it's funny, if you look up like World War II plane siren or plane siren sound on YouTube, Dunkirk actually comes up as like the first result there, that it did do that really, really well for this movie, but it is something that is generally overdone in the movie industry. So anyways, I did look it up. I wanted you all to know. And now back to your regularly scheduled programming.
But overall, I am really glad that we chose everything that we have for this season. And although this was really deep, I think it was a good choice. And I'm excited for season 8, which will be
a little bit of a change of pace there. It's going to be football season.
So we are hoping to have a better system of putting our podcasts out in a more timely manner. And since it is currently the middle of July, as we are recording this bonus episode, we are hoping that we can start watching the football episodes now, and they will be coming out during football season when we are all hype and ready for sports and those feel-good movies, especially if your team is not doing so great. Maybe some of these feel-good football movies will
take your mind off it a little bit.
Yes. Although I'm not sure all of them are super feel-good movies, but that's okay.
Yeah, that's kind of football, right?
Yes. You win some, you lose some. And so we are so excited to dive into this next season. Again, we are hoping to put them out a little bit more together in the coming season, but we have had so much fun doing this podcast and ready to keep it going. Yeah.
So if you liked this episode or like this season and you're interested in seeing more, please like and subscribe on all of the various platforms, YouTube, Instagram,
rate and review,
everywhere, all
follow.
The podcast things.
Whatever you need to do for whatever platform you are watching this on, make sure you do that. If you have any questions or suggestions for future seasons, we are always kind of having a running list going of things that we are looking for in the future. Please feel free to email us at culturenightpod@gmail.com or message us on Instagram at culturenightpod. And any other information we got wrong, any other movies we should see, make sure you send us a message, and we will see you in the next season, season 8.
Cheers.
Cheers.